Bit late, bit of traffic, sorry about that. Oh yeah. Mark, how are you?
Okay.
Where was my badge?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Go on then, far away, folks.
Mark, hi mate.
Hiya.
Should we start with something that I suspect you've seen or been made aware of on one of the back of the newspapers today?
What's that?
Reports that Gianni and Beulah and Wilfred Bonney have not integrated very well, that you and the players aren't happy with Wilfred Bonney, with his effort, his attitude.
Well, let's nip that in the bud straight away. I mean, it's unfortunately at the moment we're a little bit fair game for maybe some in your area of work that think they can get easy headlines. It's all very, very predictable. Player unrest, problems in the dressing room. They all come up at this time in this situation. We've had a run of results that we're not happy about, but to question players, which is totally untrue. I mean, Wilfred's come in, had a real positive impact on the group. We've been delighted with his character and what he's shown. In terms of what he's been able to produce on the pitch, goodness me, he hasn't played too many games in the last couple of years. He's 3 games into his career at Stoke City, and he's getting up to speed. That's clearly what's happening, but to say we're questioning his attitude or what he's bringing to the party is totally wrong, so we need to stop that right away.
Gianni and Beulah, I mean, you did drop him last weekend. I suppose that gives people the opportunity to ask questions.
Well, listen, some of the guys in the team at the moment are struggling with a little bit of form. He played midweek, played fine. He's an undoubted talent. We see that every single day. But on occasions, if your form's not quite where it needs to be, then you go out of the team. It's quite simple. There's no underlying issues or anything. It's football business, and people make of these situations what they want. But it's a little bit frustrating. It's all very predictable, as I said. But we need to stop this right away. We've got a good group. We've got a great dressing room. A dressing room that's working hard to get positive results. We had a good performance in midweek, not the result that we wanted. In terms of the game itself, totally dominated Hull, a fellow Premier League club. Didn't get the breaks. They scored 2 goals from 3 shots. We had 21 shots, so totally dominating the game. The one stat we didn't get right was basically the scoreline. So performance in midweek was good, so we can take that into the weekend. But to question the dressing room and individual players is totally wrong, in my view.
You mentioned it there, how dominant you were against Hull, and yet somehow managed to lose the game. Is that just, you've so experienced as a manager, you've been in this situation, similar situations before. Is it just one of those situations where you just need to you can't buy a win, but you need a win? Any win, anyhow?
Well, I think it's one of those situations. It happens in sports. I mean, if you look at all clubs at our level in the Premier League, at some point in the season they will have a run of games where they'll go 5, 6, 7, even more games. We had it ourselves last year and we ended up 9th. So the fact that it's at the beginning of the season, maybe it gets highlighted more and people think, oh, right, it's going to be a struggle this year. We don't think that way. There's other clubs at the bottom where we are. We'll have a similar view, who have had a little bit of a difficult start, but I think everybody feels that as the season progresses and we get towards the end of it, you'll see where each club stands, and we view ourselves as a top 10 club, which we've proved over the last 3 years. So our attitude at the moment is that we've got a little bit of noise around us because we haven't got our first win. But the reality of the situation is that if we win tomorrow, which we're more than capable of, by the way, we will have made a better start than we did last year. And we were 9th last year, so there needs to be a little bit of reality to the situation, really. I think at the moment, maybe for whatever reason, people think there's a smell of blood in the air, and they think there's an opportunity maybe to add pressure. We had pressure ourselves. We're disappointed at the moment because we hoped for a better start, clearly, because last year, because we didn't get the points on the board early on, that obviously in the end stopped us being even higher than 9th. So we wanted a good start. We haven't been able to get it, but I think you'll find very quickly that we will start to get positive results and wins on the board very, very quickly.
I think the thing that some of the fans feel is slightly different this season to last is the nature of the defeats and the number of goals you've been conceding in particular.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah.
How do you focus on that? Do you say a lot of it's down to the new rules on grappling, and maybe that's
well, maybe
disrupted the way you guys defend?
we don't really want to hide behind anything. We played good opposition at home when we were chasing games. We played Man City here, we played Tottenham here. We went behind in the game and we tried to chase and get back on level terms. As a consequence of that, we got hit on the break on too many occasions, and the score lines are difficult to take, but that can happen if you're trying to chase games at home. Crystal Palace one, we were disappointed in the performance, to be perfectly honest, because we didn't give ourselves an opportunity to win the game. Conceded 2 early goals, and from that point, as an away side, you're trying to trace a game against a team that was set up to hit you on the counter-attack with the talent they had. So there's reasons why that's happening, but clearly we need to address that, and we will do. But at the moment, we're a little bit open to criticism, and that's been brought on by ourselves to a certain extent, but we can turn that around. We're a good group. We haven't fundamentally changed the personnel of the group that, like I said, was a top 10 finish last year with basically the same players. So we know we have the talent in the dressing room to start winning the games again.
3 very successful seasons at this football club for you. Changed the style of football. Bad start to the season this time. When people start questioning your future here, does that make you smart? Does that make you think? Does that make you angry?
No, it's to be expected, I suppose. It's if you're ever looking forward to, we're always looking forward to try and achieve more than we have done before. If you keep looking back on what you've done, then people can catch you up. You've always got to try and push everything forward. So we were looking to have a good start, like I said, but I think I've proved in my time here that I can take this club in a direction that we all want to be, which is the top half of the Premier League, which is what I set out to do when I first got the job. We're consistently a top 10 side now. At the moment, we get a little bit of focus because maybe last year we never actually hit the bottom spot. I think the fact that we're at the bottom this time by virtue of the goals we conceded, then obviously we're going to have a little more focus on us. But like I said, you need to come back in a few months' time, and then we can have a conversation. If it's the same type of conversation, then it'd be a different situation, but I don't anticipate it will.
With West Brom, I mean, look, it's Tony Pulis' 1000th game of football that he's taken charge of, and he's back here at the Britannia Stadium. He'll think that's a special occasion, and he'll be licking his lips at this prospect, won't he?
In what regard? Because it's
chance to put one over on his old club in his 1000th.
well, I think he's done that on a couple of occasions.
Yeah, yes.
So I don't think he'd be looking to do it again. He's just a football manager like we all are. That we'll hope that his team performs and wins a positive, or gets a positive result against a good team, which he must certainly view us as a very good team. So there's a special resonance for him. I don't know. You have to ask him, but I'm sure he's trying to set up his team to win the game as I am.
A bit of niggle in the game last season. 2 of your players sent off. Do you think West Brom will try and do a similar sort of thing? Maybe try and unsettle your players, unsettle your rhythm. Is that a conceivable game plan?
No, I think on the day we weren't really concerned too much about the behaviour of West Brom players, to be perfectly honest. We were more concerned about the interpretation of certain incidents in the game by the referee and the officials, and I think the referee on the day probably misread one of the sentence off Afellay, and Charlie's was debatable as well, and that was an over-officious assistant referee getting involved. So it wasn't a case of West Brom were at fault, we didn't think. So there'd be no leftovers, so to speak, from that game. We brushed ourselves down, and actually from that point onwards, I think started getting really positive results. I think that galvanised us.
Do you see a hunger in the squad now because it's been such a poor start and you've got them together? And
Yeah, we saw that on Wednesday.
Do you see them,
Yeah,
determination
absolutely.
to try and get this changed?
Yeah, absolutely. I saw it on Wednesday, and I've never seen it for the most part in other games. We haven't had the wherewithal to have a full 90-minute performance as yet. But there's a lot of factors behind that. There's injuries to players. There's form issues and integrating other players into the group in terms of new players coming into the playing squad. So there's a lot of factors early in the season that you have to overcome. You hope to be able to deal with them quickly, but sometimes you have to give guys time to get up to speed, and some of them are still clearly doing that. But I was encouraged by what we produced Wednesday. I think we all feel a little disappointed and a little bit frustrated that we haven't had a positive result up to this point, but it's not far away. I think we all feel that.
Team news, anybody struggling for us from Wednesday? Anybody that's not in contention?
No, Shaq trained again yesterday, so we'll check on him today. Have to make a decision whether or not he's going to be involved. Obviously, he's been out for a few weeks, so we have to be careful with him, given it was a muscle injury, soft tissue. So we want to be a little bit careful if we can be. But if he feels confident and we feel confident that he won't be compromised or put in danger by playing so soon, then we'll go with it. But apart from him, we've got near enough a clean bit of health, I think.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mark, you say it's a good dressing room. Is it still a confident dressing room, do you feel?
Well, confidence will be hit to a certain extent because of results, but no, I think we're at a point in time in the season where we need to start to get those 3 points. So, or positive performances. We had a positive performance on Wednesday, so we feel it's only a matter of time before the positive results come. So I think confidence maybe in some of the players has been hit, but you have to stick your chest out and brush yourself down and go again. That's what you have to do as a sportsman and a Premier League football player. So I've got good players, strong characters in the group as well, which will do that, and we'll get where we need to be. The level that we're producing at the moment's not where it can be, but I think that's true to be said for a number of teams and clubs in the Premier League at this moment in time. But we know we have the capability to win games at this level. We proved it over a number of seasons now, so it's a case of making sure that we get it done sooner rather than later.
When you look back at games and you analyse and you look at the videos and the stats and everything, is there one particular area that you think if we could improve in that area, then the results will follow?
Well, clearly, in terms of conceding goals, that's been an issue for us. But I tried to explain that earlier about having to chase games against high-quality teams. They have the capacity to hurt you and pick you off when you're a little bit too open, and that's been the case. So we had a lot more control on Wednesday, albeit we got done right at the end. A lot more control of the game, and as a consequence, we were able to have a more dominant performance because we weren't chasing the games for long periods. And I think that's the key, is that we need to be in a position in games where we can dictate the momentum and the gear shifts and the gear changes in the game. We have to be the team that's in the position to do that. When you're chasing games and you're behind in games, then that's very difficult to do because you're constantly trying to be on the front foot and trying to make things happen, and that can leave you exposed. And that's what we found in some of the games this year. But on Wednesday, you saw when we're in control of the game, then we can have a more measured performance, and you don't have to go gung-ho all the time, which when you're chasing games, that's what you have to do.
Just finally one away from the club, if you don't mind. Ryan Giggs, there's talk of him coming into the Premier League. We don't need to link him with any particular club, but do you think that eventually he's a guy that we are going to see coaching, managing in the Premier League?
Yeah, I'm sure he bided his time as Man United. I thought it was an opportunity for Man United to maybe do something that Barcelona did with Pep Guardiola, bring him through and give him an opportunity. But times are changing. Maybe they felt it was too much of a risk because he hadn't had that experience. But unless you try people, you'll never know.
Mark, you must have been impressed with the home debut of Ramadan
Mm.
on Wednesday night. He looked 19-year-old, but very strong.
Yeah, we're pleased with his performance. He's an obvious talent. Comes with a big reputation in his own country, and you can see that on an individual level, his talent is good. He's still obviously going to have times where he's going to have to take a step back and watch and learn and understand the Premier League. But certainly it was a good opportunity Wednesday to get him involved, and I think he enjoyed it. I think our fans enjoyed watching him as well. He's an exciting player. He's always very positive. I think that's the key from my point of view. I really like that attitude of really taking the game to his opposite full-back and really trying to affect the game in a positive manner. And if he continues in the same vein, he's showing improvement week on week at the moment. So he's going to have an impact for us. Not saying he's going to start immediately, but he's only been here a number of months and he's still getting to grips with everything. But he's certainly a talent that we can enjoy in the coming years.
Mark, Solomon Rondon has scored 4 of the West Brom's last 7 away goals. Do you think if you can nullify his threat at the weekend, you might be able
He's a good player. He's got a lot of pace. He's got good energy and gets around the park. At times he's got a thankless task because the way West Brom set up, at times he's isolated, but he understands the role and with his attributes he can still affect games even when he's not involved in too much of the build-up play because clearly West Brom set up to be solid with lots of players behind the ball. So at times he does lack a little bit of support, but he's able to affect games when he is involved, and he's a threat at set plays as well. He's a big guy and attacks the ball well. So I've been impressed with him, not only this season, but since he's come to these shorts. I think he's a good player.
And also just another bit of business that they did, Nasser Chadli, he obviously played very well in last week's game at home. He could have quite a big impact on the game. He seems to have started very well for them.
Yeah, he's a strong player. He's got good pedigree and a little bit unfortunate. Tottenham, his talent deserved that stage, and he played any number of games, had good influence on a good Tottenham side. So he's probably feels that he wants to play week in, week out, which I would imagine he would do at West Brom. And he's made a good start to his career there. Good influence on the game last week. So he'll be looking to build on that. I'm sure it's up to us to make sure he doesn't have a positive influence on the game if we can.
As a manager and as a player, is the next best, once you've lost a game, is the next best thing just to get out there and try and get a result?
Yeah, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. And I think that was the case on Wednesday. We didn't play particularly well against Palace, clearly. We needed to get out and put that right to a certain extent. I thought we did, albeit we got done with a couple of sucker punches, but confidence-wise, we were able to gain from that game, I feel, and we'll use that confidence leading into to West Brom. We're looking forward to it. It's a challenge. We have to be mentally strong and be ready, which I anticipate we will be. So, we're looking forward to it.
Talk about the players' confidence, but is your confidence in the squad still as strong as it was?
Yes, yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Like I said, predominantly the squad is the same as we've had last year, and we were successful last year. We've added to the squad as well, and I think we're strong once everybody's up to speed. So we feel there's work to be done clearly in the short term, but long term we'll be fine.
Mark, no fitness issues with Walters and Boyan?
Well, Waltz missed Wednesday. He had an issue with his ankle, but he trained yesterday. We had to strap it up really strongly. He got through the session. We'll have to see if there's a reaction, but yeah, you're probably right to highlight that. He's probably a little bit of a doubt. Boyan, we just give him a rest.
Thanks, folks.
Okay.
Thanks, Mark.
No problem. Okay.